Hello folks, so there's no prizes for guessing this is a Uniden 300. So we've got a plug on the end of it. He doesn't have a mic for it, so we'll use our standard Uniden test mic, which I just dropped on the floor. We're not going to power it up until I've opened it up. By the way, Mr. Trucking and Farming from Leicestershire came to pick his last box of repairs up yesterday, and he saw this was in the goods in department, and he said, "Oh, I've got 6 of those, I'll probably bring one over for service." Please find enclosed Uniden 300 base station need of your attention. This was given to me by an amateur radio friend. He believes the radio's had an illegal upgrade, well, it is a downgrade. If possible, can you remove the upgrade and realign the sets? La-di-da-di-da, controls are noisy. Actually, volume controls bend, but I don't know if I dare try and bend it back. No microphone, please supply. Send me a bundle of old CBs and looked at a 2 metre Yacer radio for, yeah, which we don't normally do, and we will not do any amateur radio equipment whatsoever these days. There's absolutely no chance, even for mates. So there we go. Right, front screw's missing. We're going to be upgrading the power supply and doing the power supply, but by the time we even start. That said, I might decide to service the set on 12 volts first, because they do have a socket on the back, or should I say 13.8 volts. In fact, I may as well take all the lids off, because all the lids are going to have to come off. So it's in reasonable condition, apart from having a bent knob on the front. I once bought an electric screwdriver, but it's slower than me, so I suppose doing it by hand helps my church organist fingers. But at least these screws are all the correct ones. So the danger is, if these things have had illegal modifications, I think we all know that it's legality aside, it's usually the kiss of death, and they do fail. We only had one, and it was pretty recent, that an illegal modification was still working before we whipped it out, of course. And the danger with these is, if it's the synthesizer chip, the TC9116, it's been unobtainable for years. There is a firm in Brazil who'll sell me 100 at £29 each, but I don't think I could even sell one for £29 each. So yeah, I mean, it's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. So, and I don't remember these having those either. Of course, we've sold our demonstration Uniden 300, so I've got nothing to look back at. But we could look at an audio line 341 if we needed to actually look at something. So the service manual we can work with is the realistic TRC 2000, which is the same main board. Of course not. Oh my goodness. Well, they've taken the chip out, haven't they? What do I do? The chip is no longer there. Oh, right. Let's go and get a Uniden power lead. I'm going to have to power it up and kind of see what it does. I mean, if it worked, if this was to replace the synthesizer because somebody couldn't get it, it's still illegal because this set's only type approved with the synthesizer it came with. So if it does 40 channels UK, it's still illegal to do it that way. This is the problem. What to do? Well, we'll power it up and see, but where do we get a chip from? Do we have to smash up one of our own sets to get a chip to sell to the customer? You know, that's what we're up against. I think the answer is yes. So then we have to charge him what we think the set's worth, which we smash up. Right, so I've got all the junk out of the radio, so it's now clear. So hopefully we can put back the parts which we're supposed to. This is my own Uniden 200. It's not that knackered, is it? And it's even got all the knobs. So this is a set which doesn't work. And apart from the fact it's had the power input pinched, it all looks to be there. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll connect this up and see if it actually transmits, in which case the IC is okay. So here we go, which is positive and which is negative. There we go. So we'll connect this to the test gear. I'll even plug in the extension speaker. We got a click there, but we didn't get any receive. Now look, it's receiving the signal generator. Can you see the meter? If I turn the signal generator on, I've gone and pressed the wrong button, haven't I? Oh, twit. Signal generator. If I turn that down and actually press the right switch, you'll see the signal. So it is working. Now on transmit, show the big meter, which you've got on the inset picture. Is it transmitting? The answer is it is. Is that high power? It's doing 3 watts, it's on frequency. So this is a working set, there's no receive. Perhaps the audio IC is duff. But it would receive because we can see it receiving. And it may be that because somebody's pinched the socket off it, we've got no continuity. So there you go. So we can safely know that if we remove that chip very carefully, it's working order. And this is one we have done some work on because it's had the capacitors changed. So it's obviously was still work in progress. But there you go. That's what we'll use. It also means we can recover the broken coil here from this set. Yep. So I'll just pop this on one side. So of course the whole idea of buying this would be turn a scrap set into a working set. So now we've gone backwards, and what work has been done to this is, well, it's not totally lost because it's at least it's given us parts for this. We have another one of these which is perfectly working, and what I've done, I've put a socket in, and means we can test the TC9119 chips in that set. Now, you're not supposed to have a socket for the phase lock loop chip because it can cause spurious rubbish and all that, so it's not approved to do that, but we're just using it as a test jig. Right, we'll get this chip removed. And we'll actually start by soldering this up. So this is the only Uniden 200, apart from that one I said we have as a jig for testing the chips. It's the only one in the building that is not fully working. We've got some Uniden 100s in the, I mean, it could have been the audio line, could have been the Realistic 2000, but I would not want to scrap a Realistic because they seem to be better sets. We've got a really smashed up Realistic down here when we bought it like that, and it's sad to see these £100 radios in that kind of state. I'll pause the video for a moment. So what I tend to do when we're desoldering things we need to get in one piece is to make sure that every one of these pins is clear. It's alright ripping out a part which is known broken, but when it's as rare as hen's teeth, yay! Now, the other thing about this is we know what links and what parts should be on the underside, with it being absolutely identical. Right, bring the base station back. Make sure these are sufficiently cleared. That print's coming off there. Make sure it fits from this side. All except one. I think it'd be sensible to go over this with isopropyl alcohol right now. Especially if we can find Mr. Chippie's toothbrush. There's that right mess just there, isn't there? I've also proved that these aren't supposed to be there. There's a link there. There's a link there. That capacitor's not supposed to be there. Though that does look, that's the Uniden type of capacitor. Not sure if any of those are supposed to be there. Short circuit there. I might have introduced that. I think it's been in a nicotine environment which hasn't helped it at all. You know what, I never got involved in smoking because I started doing the City and Guilds course on television servicing when I was 15, and I saw on television sets what adverse effect that nicotine had on televisions. You got nothing like the life. You know, it was easy for the high tension to track across with nicotine, and so I never got involved in smoking. I've got friends amongst us, you know, a dozen friends, and they're always there smoking. Oh, go on, have a fag, go on, have a... Including James May behind the bike sheds at Oakwood School, Rotherham. Go on, go on. I said, I'm not lowering myself to your standards. And I'm still skint. I think we could get rid of a bit more solder off that one. That's it, that went straight away. Good. There's something going on here as well. It's like there's a bit of a component lead. And let's bring back this other set. So what's happening here? Should have blob of 3 not connected to that next bit. Is. Got to remove that solder blob. I think we'll be checking that with the multimeter. Well, I must say it looks right. And then we've got all this problem here. It's correct there. Got a piece of print missing there. We've got a piece of print missing there. So I need to reinstate what's missing with whatever components they've pinched. Anyway, we'll put this chip in, and then I think it's lunch break. I bet this job's 5 hours. You know what, while this is out, we've got to change those capacitors, haven't we? Now that has been changed before, but we don't know when and what quality. So that's the first one, the 220 microfarads. We've got to get rid of that 220, which has been changed before. Then we need to get rid of the 2200, which they've put in there, and put the 470 back it's supposed to have. I mean, that looks like it goes to the audio IC, so you'd be loading that, something chronic. And the other 470 is still the original, that needs to come out. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do, is to damage that audio IC. Another 20 quid part. Right, now those are out, we'll put this chip in. Good. Solder that up. I'll do this off camera. Right, so I've discovered why, I've done those 4 capacitors, but I've discovered why that capacitor was mounted on the underside, and that is because the hole for it is blocked up with something. I'm sure I've got a pin vise somewhere. It's just absolutely too small to go on a cordless drill, which we do have here. Anyway, it was quicker to do it that way than it was to walk across to the organ workshop and get a pin vise. So now I can fit the 10 microfarad capacitor, the new one, in the correct side. So we've got the two 470s new, the two 220s new, the chip in. I expect there should be a part. We'll have to see where there should be parts. I'm not going to switch it on until I know that I've done everything that I think should be done. We haven't got a second chance, have we? We have to be destroying a irreplaceable chip. So what's happened here? We've got to find out what the missing parts are. I can't see daylight through those holes. So is it just blocked with wax, or is it filled in with something? So poke that one out. Poke that one out. Ah, yes. So next to the crystal looks like we should have a capacitor So we'll get our donor set. Yes, it has a capacitor. The one down there isn't a missing part. It's not fitted. So we need to find out what the capacitor is. I'm not going to recover one off second hand. Just see what's happened down here. So you know where they've got all those other capacitors? That's missing. So see what it should be. And it's 1 microfarad in capacitor 98 position. So we'll get the service manual out. Capacitor 98 just to prove it. Yeah, 1 microfarad. Might as well keep that out. So I'll go and get a 1 microfarad capacitor. We'll go and get a capacitor kit. I'll tell you what, we'll look up that one as well. Look up that one. It's the other board. So next to it's capacitor 60. We'll look up capacitor 60 and it is 39 picofarads. We want 39 picofarad capacitor, we want a 1 microfarad capacitor. I'll go to stores and get them. Of course I forgot to bring the other one, didn't I? Right, that's the ceramic one. We've only got monolithic resin dipped, which are more expensive. Don't get the ingress of moisture problem that the cheaper ones do, which is why we buy these. Just make sure the spacing's right. Capacity as well, because it doesn't say 39 on it. Well, it measures as 35, so that's fair enough. See if we can get it in from the other side and then swap it back over. Wow, there's a wicked dry joint there, and this is a really old dry joint because it's all tarnished. I'm going to clean that. This probably had intermittent receive for years. Let's put this in the proper way. Now we know it goes through the holes. There we go. So they've broken the track here. So what we'll need to do is to make that lower leg go to there. So we'll do that first. And then the upper leg to there. I mean, it's only worthwhile doing this because you can't buy base stations. Mind you, they'll probably be crap anyway. Right. So a bit of a dry joint possibly there. Cut off that excess lead. Probably a wrong component anyway, and it will probably stop it working. So I can't see. I did. There was a cut there. I've done that. Let's just see how that's supposed to be. Don't know whether they've cut that. We'll do a Mr. Blobby across that bit. Just in case they've cut it. So I've done that. If there's a problem with microphony and whatever, there's a link on our set to help with the earth plane. This looks right, it's just a mess. Right, it's time to power it up. I'm not expecting it to just beautifully work. Oh, we have got a display. We've got the same crappy receive volume that we had before. We have no transmit, and I dare say we don't have any receive either because the phase lock loop's not going to be right. Make sure we've got no overheating. So I've no phase lock loop operation, no transmit, no receive. So let's have a look. I'll turn that off, have a look at what's possibly missing. Okay, so battling on with this, we've added a missing component already. Where's my surgical thingies gone? I don't know, but they've gone, haven't they? Right, let's see if we can get this 68 picofarad capacitor in without. Right, we'll try that. Oh, there's one microfarad got to go in there. So 1 microfarad. I think they've modified the way the microphone amplifier preamp is, where in actual fact the problems the microphones supplied with these radios are lacking in treble rather than the radio. Right, we'll try that. Power on. Let's see whether we can get a VCO reading now. I think there's a supply missing. It shouldn't be as low as that. No, I've got to wade on and try and find why. Right. Okay, so various missing parts. A blob of solder as well. And we've now got channel 20 coming through on receive. And if we go over to camera 1, no, 2, see we've got 2779277. That's high, so we're going to have to mess with capacitors. It's going to be that one that sets it, which is the one I fitted. Might have to put something else in addition underneath, because it's out of range too high. So I'll actually recover the right capacitor instead of a posh one from a scrap chassis, not that one. So what receiver have we got? Well, crummy. Detector's clearly wrong. We'll just see whether we can do anything with the detector very quickly. And I'm going to have to plug in the extension speaker, aren't I? As in the test one. It's there somewhere. Not that one. That one. So if we go over to the oscilloscope, you can see we've got an awful waveform. And remember, this isn't the synthesizer is nothing to do with what somebody's done here. So we'll quickly see whether we can get the detector a better shape. Doesn't look like the right bit. We're getting there, aren't we? That's 10 microvolts. I think it's from me. But you just, I mean, that might not help. Just have a quick look at the RF. Go to SINAD meter. Just see if we can get somewhere with it. And you know what? We're going to have to. You know what I'm doing, don't you? I've got it's off frequency so far, and I should be. It's 2779277. That's what I need to dial into the signal generator. 2779277. We'll try and tune it to itself, you see. That's the plan. Right, start again. With the big signal, 100 microvolts on the signal generator. Now we'll see where we are. Well, I mean that's wrong. That's better. Now back to 10 microvolts. Drop it down. Getting there, but we're not there yet. We're at 1 microvolt for 10 dB at the moment, but that's not far out. 1 microvolt for 10 dB. I mean, I think that's crap, but these are insensitive in comparison to the sets. So your absolute worst, they say, is 1 microvolt for 10 dB. There it is in black and white. So it's actually doing its worst. But I'm sure we can do better than that. But at least it proves we're heading in the right direction. So I'm going to take a break, because to be honest I've had enough of this. I started it at 10 o'clock, it's now 2. Took half an hour for lunch, so that's 3.5 hours. Right folks, we're in a position now to do the transmit alignment. I think we'll kind of do some of the basic things as a part one, because it's got to have all the switches turned back from an illegal play toy into switches like the high to low tone public address. I think power is working but needs dismantling. I think we'll leave that for a part two. So try and get the set basically working. You've heard receive basically working up to 1 microvolts, which is what the manual says is the minimum acceptable, but we will work beyond that, because it's always nice to get things beyond the limit spec. So as far as the transmitter goes, the minimum they want it to be, bearing in mind it was 3.4 watts with the illegal modification, the lowest they want it to be is 3.4 watts, it says there in black and white. So we're going to do the VCO, because obviously I've done the VCO to make it lock, but not properly. So I'll just get myself an earth point. And then in part two, we can rebuild the power supply as well. Get myself set up. We're 3.5 hours now into this job. So on channel 40, doesn't sound normal, does it, on FM? It's not the normal FM noise. On channel 40, the test point 1, it's 3.5 volts. So that resistor there. I don't think my earth's on my negative prod. Got Mark here this weekend. G7N DJ from Nottingham is staying the weekend, and we're all going for fish and chips. So there we've got 2.92 at the moment. So just so I don't have channels dropping out. Right, just put my thing there. There we go. 3.46 will do me nicely. So it's now 3.46. It's 3.5 is what the book says. What we do with L18 here is we set it up on receive, and if I just do that quickly on channel 20, of course, just take that away. They go on test point 3 with an oscilloscope. Because the set's already working, we don't need to do that. I just want to look at this core. Yeah, I thought it felt like there was a little corner out of it. So we'll put it in the other way around. And there's our peak for that. I don't like all this wax on stuff. Okay, so transmit. Channel 20. Turn the volume down. We want it. Well, we're still in. We've got this dodgy switch, haven't we? Centre of peak. Centre of peak. Probably do it on the other range. Yeah. We're currently at 1.5 watts. It's going to be different to before because it's a different synthesizer, isn't it? Let's lock those back up. They're both out, but of course, I say we're on a different synthesizer now. So we're now gone beyond 3 watts. And just by tuning those, we're now at 4 watts. .2. See if this one's intact. It is. Let's remove that earth. Now then, this isn't intact. So although we're doing 4.2 watts, I think we have to use that one to set the power. It's L10 for 4 watts. Ought to have several copies of this, so I'm not going backwards and forwards. L10 is the one which is broken. Trouble is, it's waxed in, broken. I might be able to. There might be enough to get out. Otherwise we'll have to recover one from our freshly scrapped set, which is not what I'm looking to do. If I can get rid of the damaged bit, I might be able to just get my fingers in. Yeah. And then there's no damage now. We can put it in the other way around. There we are. Another cost saved. So we need to set that for 4 watts. The absolute peak there is about 4.4. So there we are at 4 watts. Radio's drawing 974 milliamps. So 4 watts, 974 milliamps. So let's just look at the other channels. Channel 40 is 4 watts. I'm going to put the other test set on behind me because we'll do the deviation. Yeah, that's 4 watts. Channel 1, it's also 4 watts. I've balanced that's absolutely spot on. So that's great. That's great news. Now look, our current consumption has dropped. So we've gone up 0.6 per watt, and it's dropped from 1.018 to 974 milliamps. So we're saving 225 milliamps, aren't we? And yet we've gone up half a watt. Just goes to show. Right, set low power. We'll go to channel 20. Might set the meter. supposed to be in the centre of the red zone. It's now a bit high, and our preset for that is there, and it's dirty. I dare say all these are dirty. It's supposed to be in the centre of the red zone, and that's where it is. Now on low power, the switch is working at the moment, so we'll just do the low power. Surely that's the low power preset. It is. It's been linked out with a resistor. So if the preset's duff, then fair enough, the preset's duff. And if it isn't, if it's duff, it'll get replaced. If it isn't, well, let's see what happens. No power. The preset's duff. Right, we're getting a new preset in it. That's what you do. So, it says 1K on it, and it's VR4. And it's supposed to be 1K. Right, we'll turn the power off and get that removed. And just put a new one in. Goodbye. These kits of presets are available from Rapid Online. Right, let's try again. $400 milliwatts. I'm not even showing you the right meter. 400 milliwatts on low power, go to the high scale, 4 watts on the high scale. So 220 microfarad times 2, 470 microfarad times 2, 10 microfarad times 1, 1 microfarad times 1, 4 picofarad, 10 picofarad, 33 picofarad, 39 picofarad. That's so far what we've put in it. And of course the synthesizer by sacrificing our Uniden 200. I'll see whether the deviation meter is ready. Just turn the make sure that's set again. There's definitely something not right with the FM side of this, whether or not they've changed some part somewhere. That resistor doesn't look original, but we'll come to that in a moment, and well, not, probably in another day, and I don't think it'll be Saturday. I'll be ending up doing my Sunday, I think, on this. Right, what we're just going to do is take this across to the other test set, and we'll see what the deviation is. I'll just put the main meter on this ready to come back, because if you remember, the deviation was about 5 kilohertz, because the deviation control is on full. Because when you're only doing 3.4 watts, you see, you've got to transmit on 3 channels at once to be heard. $10,000,000 10-1 channels is the best way to describe that, isn't it? Yes, Mr. Tango, it is. Wallow. Yeah, it is. It's actually 4. Wallow. That's another Duff preset. So I'm gonna go and have to do something else. We'll change that preset. No, we'll do it now, because there isn't going to be time to come back to it. Right, try again. If at first you don't succeed, give up and go home. Wallow, wallow. That's it. I haven't got my monitor receiver here. Tell you what we'll do, we'll put it on the aerial. So we'll draw this part to a close. So we've done all the capacitors, apart from the power supply, because we're running it on the bench power supply. So I've got the receiver to finish off. It's already hitting minimum acceptable. We need to restore all these controls. Very dirty squelch. don't think it's fair to have it on the test equipment speaker. You can hear somebody coming through just about. Put the squelch on. Tango 21, Mr. Chippie. Mr. Chippie, do you copy? Of course, he may not be in the building. Tango 21, Mr. Chippie, for a video test. Oh, I don't know where Mr. Chippie is, but Mark's here for the weekend, so I'll give Mark a try. Tango 21, ZX2, do you copy?
Yes, yeah, receiving you loud and clear.
Roger on that, thank you. That's great. Right, so
no
we'll...
problem.
Roger. Right, so there we go. We'll leave it at that. We'll come back in the next session, which we can, and sort out the power supply, finish off the receiver, and reinstate the switches that have been turned into something different. I mean, public address is the killer. It really usually takes a lot of putting back. Right, thanks for watching the first part of restoring the Uniace 300 base station after being turned into an illegal play toy.